This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning. But we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 17th of April, 2019, and I am 2J.
I am Tuam.
And I am Miss K, your host. Again, in case you missed it, this is Winning Headlines. Let's take a look at today's headlines. The Standard, showdown.
Wow.
One word, eh?
One word. The Star, no rainfall in April and May, met. And Daily Nation, the big maize lie.
All right. Okay.
I
think let's start with the Standard. I'm liking this headline.
Yes, let's start with the headline, not
with
the
headline,
sentence
yes.
or paragraph.
That is true. Showdown. 2M, what's the context of this story?
Context of this story is the housing levy of 1.5% to employers, to employees.
But with a copay.
Yes, with a copay for employers, right? And this is for the housing big four thing for UHURU Kenyatta.
Yeah.
Not for Kenyans, eh?
We note what you just threw out there. But okay, yeah, so why is it a showdown? Why is this housing levy so contentious?
Because the federal, is it Kenya Employees, what is it called? FKE.
Federal, federal
FKE.
Yeah,
whatever
Kenya
it is.
Employees, oh my goodness.
Right, they do not agree with this 1.5% levy on employees.
Federation of Kenya Employers. I had to get it right, you guys know.
Whatever they are, all right? And I do agree with them, right? 1.5%, when you're taxing people who are already overtaxed, they already have what you call taxation fatigue, is shameless, in my view.
And I also think more importantly, the context of this story is it comes at a bad time. When we're talking about stories of corruption, drought, death. Then you start telling people, now we're going to tax you. We're going to take more money out of your pocket to pay for a house that you might never even have the right to own. I think it's in bad taste. It's terrible timing.
You know, guys, I have said this before, all right? I do not know why government is behaving like private sector. In my view, it is not the business of government to behave like private sector. It's not the business of government to build
houses for the public.
Right? If you have 500,000 units of houses to build, provide it or package it like a scheme. Give it to private sector. You can buy some land somewhere. Tell banks to provide some sort of mortgage at a subsidized rate or something of that nature. But you're going to provide houses for people, then who will buy them? If over 1 million people are being taxed on pay as you earn, all right, and only 500,000 people are going to benefit from this scheme, why then are we buying houses for other people?
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Well, then I can call it a Robin Hood tax, if I could call it that. For this reason, like you said, everyone who is an employee will be compulsorily forced to pay for it. But not everyone who pays for it will get the money out of it or will use it to get a house. If you already have a house, then your eligibility becomes questionable. And also, not only are you forced to give it, when you're trying to get it back, if you choose to get it back in cash, then you'll be taxed for it. In addition,
for withdrawing a fine for withdrawing it.
Yes, so it's a fine for withdrawing it. So I don't know.
The thing about this housing levy, it reminds me of the Huduma number scandal, if I can call it that, right? Quite honestly, Huduma number, in my opinion, came out of nowhere. You know, the government just tells me, I need you to appear somewhere, give me your fingerprints, give me your DNA, which was debunked.
Tell me where you work,
so
that I can ensure I get this.
Tell me what you do. And Huduma number came out of nowhere, and it was something that we were forced, and it was put into legislation that I had to do it. Okay. Same thing with this housing levy.
I agree. It came out sneaky. It feels very sneaky.
Exactly.
So I feel like it's not coming off well. One, it's compulsory. Two, it comes at the wrong time. The context is wrong. Because even how it's being couched after we've had weeks and weeks of corruption is that you're going to take my money and then guess what? Because I'm not exactly sure if I'm ever going to get it, somebody else
might get it.
And the fine for you getting it or misappropriating it is not that high. So it opens up that
That's true,
crowd.
The fine for misappropriation of these funds is only 10,000 shillings. So I could steal 100,000 shillings only to pay 10K as a fine.
You know, look at it this way.
Oh yeah, those are 2 installments, by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Let's look at this this way. Every single year in this country, there are 30,000 mortgages. 30,000. 30,000 mortgages.
You've said it 3 times, so now?
And I have to say it for emphasis, right? That tells you that it is not a priority for everybody being a first-time homeowner.
That's very true.
The priority for people is just getting by. Now, if you want people to become homeowners, the best thing for you is to deal with markets. Reduce the taxes. There's no reason, for example, why a bag of cement should retail at 600 bob. If you want people to become homeowners, reduce the building materials of a house, right? People will see the need of becoming homeowners, or even go and buy land somewhere.
But I also have to say,
and then you reduce the price of building materials.
I also have to say this, that this also smacks of patronizing generosity. For this reason, not only are you telling me I need a house, you're also telling me the parameters in which I'm going to get this house. So I think that for a system to work and for us to have houses that one, we will enjoy living in, and two, we will value for the worth that they are, is that you have to put in a system that relies on individual effort. There has to be some individual effort, and this effort is my own initiative, not that you forced me into getting the house.
So what do we think about this headline?
Let's use our criteria.
All right.
We ask ourselves 3 questions when we're breaking down the headlines for you. We ask ourselves, is this headline topical or is it repetitive? Is it groundbreaking or is it? What is the other one?
Effective?
No, that's the last one.
Repetitive.
Is it repetitive or groundbreaking?
Groundbreaking.
Thank you. And finally, is it? What is the last one? Thoughtful
or just plain lazy?
Okay.
All right.
So, showdown. I do like the headline. It's a headline.
Yes.
I think that it is effective. Very effective.
I say
let's
look at it across the other
headlines. So we keep it in the parking bay and we look at it against, I think we can look at them together.
Yes.
The Big Maize Live, which it's also a headline. I like it. And no rainfall in April and May.
I will give props to the Daily Nation. They have learned from the Standard a short, effective headline. I don't like the headline, but I give them props for, shortening. We don't want essays when we look at a headline.
That's true. And also the story. I question the story. I feel like we're being primed here again. It's talking about the failures of government more so than the issue at hand, which is the lack of rainfall.
Here, I will take the other extreme and defend government.
Okay. All right, because my question was, is the Daily Nation priming us? Do they have an agenda to make the government look negative?
It's priming us based on nonsense. And I will explain this. Look at it this way, right? The Austrian Economic School of Thought, it says that whoever has perfect knowledge of a market has utmost advantage.
Are you saying cartels are good?
Yes.
Are you saying, are you honestly sitting here
and they are necessary.
I mean, I think
cartels are necessary.
Cartels are a reflection of the state of government.
Cartels are not illegal. Look, if I had prior knowledge that there will not be any rainfall for the first half of the year, and that will cause some sort of price changes and food shortages in a certain period of time, I will go ahead and say, because there's a certain shortage of this product called maize, I can go to Ethiopia and
Mexico,
get it at this price, or Mexico or Uganda, and then come and resell it to the Kenyan government. Right?
I feel that
and you see, here's the thing. First, I do not know whether there's a maize shortage
or not.
I have a question. Is it a maize shortage, a drought?
I really don't know. In
Guys,
one.
The truth of the matter is, let me ask you, is maize a cash crop in this country?
Well, we use it for subsistence.
It's subsistence.
We make it to eat it.
It's a staple food, so we don't export it. It is not a cash crop, right? We grow it so that we can eat it. Second, we do not grow enough maize in this country to feed ourselves.
We should look for alternatives.
That's
and
a good
I think
point.
the Met called farmers to this. They said diversify.
Yes, but
eat less ugali, eat more chapati.
Let me give you
statistics. It takes a shorter time to grow.
Let me give you statistics. About every single year, you have 36 million bags of maize grown every single year.
All
right? Our demand for maize is 42 million bags plus every single year. You have a deficit of 6.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
That tells you something. Because we cannot feed ourselves, why are we focusing on a crop
Change what you eat.
Yeah, you know, Njero Githai, former Minister of Finance, once said, if there's no food, there are people in other countries that eat rat.
You said that you're going to defend the government. You're yet to do that. You're giving us stories.
I am defending government because of this. It is not the primary objective of government
to feed the people,
to grow maize.
But it is the objective and their role to protect me.
Government is giving you an option.
All right,
if
guys,
you don't have enough,
Can we quickly look at the star?
Just let me give you a solution.
No rain.
If you don't have enough maize in this country, then go and import from other countries before people start complaining of food prices.
Very well.
I think this is just a fact that there will be no rain until May.
Therefore, we toss it. It's not even interesting.
Agree.
Yeah.
The big maize lie, highly speculative.
Yes, I know. They used an adjective to qualify the word lie. I think that's, speculation.
That just leaves the standard with our showdown, which I think is a winning headline.
This is most definitely effective. I really liked it. It made me want to pick up the paper and find out who the showdown is against.
And I also do think it's groundbreaking because the government has said that they're going to impose a levy, yet FKE is in court.
And the people have said, no, we do not want this. The number one trending thing on Twitter right now is something about boycott the housing along those lines.
You know, guys, I saw something that if you're earning a gross salary of 15,000 shillings, you'll be paying 225 shillings on this levy. Now, if you're spending about 225 shillings just on this levy, that's your gross salary, meaning your net is about 10, 11,000 bob. You're spending about 5 installments every single month just to pay someone to get a house.
Yeah,
someone else. On to our next segment, the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country.
Yeah.
Bring back these papers. And just like the headlines, we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break them down for you. We ask ourselves 3 questions. Is the cartoon humorous or is it dry? Is it satirical or is it pessimistic? And finally, is it effective or just plain lazy?
I would suggest we start with the Standard, only because the Star and the Nation speak to the same
topic. In fact, I feel like we'll kind of be looking like a mirror image of each other with those 2 cartoons.
Yeah. So, today we have a cartoon from Gado, I believe.
Yes, it is Gado.
And it says, dark. Stop violence against women. Very dark graphic image. And there is the body of a woman lying on the ground in a pool of blood.
You know, sadly, we have seen this headline and we have not commented about it.
Yeah.
But because we have seen it on a cartoon, now Gado has forced us to comment about it, and we shall.
Not want to shy away from hard topics.
If any man out there thinks that it is nice or whatever it is to kill a woman because you've been rejected, you're as foolish as they come.
Of course, this story is in reference to the death of Ivy Wangeshi.
Yeah, and there are a couple of other people who have killed women because of this. It falls below the levels of subhuman, and nobody should make exception or excuses about this.
However, the only critique I would make of this cartoon is, I think when you say stop violence against women, we're not addressing the actual issue. Because this violence against women is perpetrated by men. So I think that if this is a call to action by Gado, I would rather he says, men, stand up. Men, be better. Men do not attack. I think we're missing the people who we're meant to be targeting.
Well, I also think he is telling us to look at and evaluate this campaign, because this is not a campaign. This is not the first time you've seen something saying stop violence against women. It is the campaigns that have been run over and over again. Yet, what we have at the bottom third of this cartoon is the reality of the situation, that even though you're calling people to stop violence against women, the violence against women is not only increasing, it's becoming more graphic.
What God is also telling us is this. It has become, I think it's normalization of, of violence against
women. I mean, we have a crazy fact. Between the 1st of January 2019 and the 13th of April 2019, that's a 3-month span. 40 women have been killed.
And also, it's not to say that women, that violence from women to men is also nice.
Very true, agreed.
Yeah, and the same what I said earlier confers to you. But Gado is passing a message.
And I think the message is received. I do think the message is received, and for that we can keep this in the parking bay.
All right, moving on. What do we have? The Daily Nation. Victor Ndula. All right, so here we have, there's another cartoon that is in reference to
Can we look at them against each other?
That's true. it's actually quite funny because they both depict this housing levy story in a very similar way. And I think we've said this before. Ozone comes from the Victor Ndula School of Cartoonery. So it's clear that they're borrowing off each other, or rather he's copying from his teacher.
Only now that the housing fund has two components in terms of people.
In which one? In the Daily Nation?
Yeah, in the Daily Nation. Ndula's cartoon. Uhuru Kenyatta, William Ruto squeezing Kenyans off their pennies, right, into the housing fund.
As they say, shh.
And shh. But then who's walking away with briefcases, I don't know, full of what?
Of secrets. AU special envoy.
But
so can we use our criteria to break this down for us?
Yes,
Wait,
Ms. K.
He's saying yes.
I think Ms. K should ground us in our criteria before we proceed.
No, I have not finished in the context. He's saying yes. Shh.
All right.
He's agreeing with Uhuru and Ruto.
Okay.
But also he's carrying things away. Are you trying to imply something?
Yes, they're in agreement. Continue squeezing those Kenyans off their pennies.
And we will continue sharing it like the game of Monopoly.
There's a reason why
we do know there's a lot of secrecy that surrounds the handshake. So
what do we say about these cartoons? Are they humorous or are they dry?
Yes.
What? No, I'm asking.
We haven't addressed the star yet. We've barely spoken about it.
Yeah, I see. Come on, this is twisted now.
Yeah, what's his name? Ozone is fond of using words to explain his cartoons, which I think we don't like. I think let your cartoon speak for itself. And I think that's part of the satire of this cartoon industry.
Let me tell you, for the first time today, I like Ozone of Ndula. Because he did not...
It's twisted.
Yeah, it's twisted.
Have to tell me.
He did not need to draw Uhuru and Raila. Either way, the government is twisting Kenyans. And that's why I say, come on, this is now twisted. And that is not the cry of the housing fund. It's a cry from Kenyans.
But I think that when you look at this cartoon by Ndula, this is the sentiment of Kenyans, that there's so much going on that this is just another thing on top of it. And they know who the culprits are behind it.
Yeah, you're already taking NHIF, NSS, FPE, and then you're going to get me again for a housing levy. You're just twisting me and twisting me and twisting me. Yeah. And it's for your benefit.
For your benefit.
And you don't want me to say anything about it. So you want me to just shush.
Which cartoon do we prefer though?
I
prefer Ndula's cartoon.
I prefer Ndula as well. Tuam?
I prefer Ndula.
It's humorous, it's satirical, it's effective. What do you think?
Agreed.
I agree. You persuaded me.
Okay, let's toss this because the student is yet to meet the master.
Exactly. All right.
Do you have a final thought today?
Oh yes, absolutely. And now, our final thought, sponsored by 2J.
Sponsored by 2J, oh my gosh. All right, our final thought to you, for you today is brought to you by a quote from Chinua Achebe, and I will read it to you. It goes as follows. The emperor would prefer the poet to keep away from politics, that being the emperor's domain, so that he can manage the things the way that he likes. So essentially this is saying that the emperor would prefer the poet stays away from politics because that is the way, because the emperor would prefer to keep things as he prefers.
Yes.
I think you had some other quotes that would add on to that.
No, guys, you see, when you see public intellectuals agreeing on certain things, even when they have opposed each other for a long time, then you realize that the emperor could be wrong. And the reason we are saying this, guys, is because of this housing levy.
Yeah.
And yesterday I said this, that the big four, in my view, is a mistake.
Yeah.
Too many moving parts for Uhuru Kenyatta just for legacy. I would prefer a situation, and I'm saying
you've asked for the big one.
This is just the big one, all right? And this is because, and Prof says it, and can I read right now?
Yeah.
Prof says, the poet tells the emperor the truth. The king is naked.
Yeah, the point of the poet is to... The point of the poet is to tell the emperor the uncomfortable truth.
Yeah. Yes.
And this kind of harkens back to the role of the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
They're the people who surround the president, the emperor, who are meant to alert him to
when
things.
He's gone off
when he's gone wrong.
Off the right path. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just going back to my point. You see, if Uhuru or President Uhuru Kenyatta, when the Big Four thing came to fruition and everything, I don't know whether they asked themselves the question why. What we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
And if the question was why, what would the housing levy be able to achieve? And they say 500,000 units of housing. And then I sit back and I ask myself, 500,000 units of housing after 5 years, who will fit in these houses?
Yeah, it's not a sufficient why to warrant a 1.5 levy.
If we knew the why, perhaps we'd feel less pain giving the money, because if you knew what you are contributing to, what the bigger picture is, what the value is that we are contributing to, then I would contribute to it willingly.
So can I take up 2M's normal role? I want to ask a crazy question. I want to say something crazy.
Go for it.
Do you think that this could spark a revolution?
Woo.
Well, I don't think, okay, I know it sounds like a crazy thought, but I don't think it's that far-fetched. I really don't think it's that far-fetched, because we have said that what you need is a man of words.
Yes.
And our poets are just that.
They are men of words. Yes.
And if you have the poets all in one direction, agreeing on the same issue.
The emperor has lost.
The emperor has lost. The problem is not the public intellectuals, because as we've said in that quote, the role of the emperor is to keep those public intellectuals on opposite ends so that they never agree. But if you have them unified, then the problem is not the intellectuals, it is the emperor.
The emperor. And
these issues, taking my, what do you call it, 285 bob of
personal.
my 15,000.
225.
That's personal.
In fact, I realized I made a mistake there. It is 225. And I said, if you earn 15,000 bob, about your net salary is about 10, 11,000. Let's say it's 10.
Either way, it's personal.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's personal. You are taking money out of my pocket, and I'm going to have to readjust so that somebody that I do not know can get a house. 225
shillings is 5 installments away from 10% of your salary.
All right, Turam. Yeah.
And I just wanted to clarify that. And that tells you, if you're going to tax or to levy people who already have taxation fatigue, then you're creating grounds for a Sudan-like revolution.
I agree.
Okay, today our winning headline came from the Standard Showdown, and our winning cartoon was Victor Ndula of the Daily Nation. I'm going to leave you with a quote from Chinua Achebe. As well, from Antilles of the Savannah. While we do our good works, let us not forget that the real solution lies in a world in which charity will have become unnecessary. Down with the housing levy.
Oh, yes, Miss K, I love that.
This is Winning Headlines. See you tomorrow.